Popcorn and Pictures podcast.
So as I was saying, I think that this is a series where the two teams are clearly the best two in the game right now. And because of that, they're going to wear each other out. They're going to go at least 6 games. They'll probably go to 7 games. I would be surprised if they don't with the way the series has gone. So I think that will then leave the benefactor to be the New York Knicks and could give the Knicks a pretty significant advantage because they're about to wrap up their series soon and, hopefully make them fresh for the finals. So my pick in the finals, whoever gets through, is Knicks in 6.
Ooh, nice. I'm rooting for Wembanyama all the way through. Do you think that the Western Conference is a better team? Despite who wins, probably the Knicks. Would you argue that the Western is the better teams? Whoever advances.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Definitely. It's not even a question in my mind. You see that with just how ferocious that both teams can go on runs that just balloon, out of nowhere. So plus the defense, plus they have MVP candidates, it's the best team by far. No offense to New York Knicks, but again, it's not about who the best team is on paper. It's about who is the best team at the end of the line. And right now, the Knicks are looking pretty dominant. So, regardless of who it is, they're going to give, even if they don't win, they're going to give OKC or San Antonio a run for their money.
Like I said, Wembanyama is. I'm on the Wemby train.
He's a transcendent player. You think Wembanyama is going to be the star of Space Jam 3 with the route he's going?
I don't think so. I think the reason why LeBron was in Space Jam 2 is because Michael Jordan, LeBron. Yeah, but I think they have personalities. I don't think Wembanyama has the same
Wemby has a personality.
But to be the star of a movie with Bugs Bunny?
Well, you wouldn't star him. You give him another 8 years, he'll be 30 and then you can put him in the game. So
we'll see.
I Space Jam 3 starring Wembanyama coming to a theater near you in let's say 8 years. So
you know what?
2034.
They should have Jokic in Space Jam 3. I think that'll be the best.
It's too late. He'll be. I guess he'll be 40, 41. So if he wants to keep playing like Steph and LeBron, he probably can. But my guess is he's not. He'll want to spend time with his horsies. So Anyway, welcome to another episode of Popcorn and Pictures with your host, Sam Karpinski, and your co-host, Jose Mendoza.
Jose Wembanyama.
Jose is not as tall as Victor Wembanyama, not even close. In fact,
I'm close.
Nearly opposite. But that's enough. We won't beat up Jose too much. Jose's got better facial hair than Wembanyama, so we're giving him that.
That's very kind.
Yeah, we're giving him that. For that matter, I do too. No offense, Victor.
But, my basketball skills are kind of there, though. I will say, I'm almost.
You could say that Victor's afraid of you having not challenged you to a one-on-one game. What is he afraid of?
I heard he's a big fan of the show.
Anyway, all right, so we're going to talk about a couple of movies. The first one we're going to talk about was what I would describe as basically a live action Pixar film, not from Pixar or Disney, obviously. It's a rather pleasantly, surprisingly good movie called The Sheep Detectives. What did you think, Jose? What did you think of The Sheep? You were a little skeptical going in, but you kind of got your heart won by the flock.
Yeah, I'm going to eat my words because if you remember, I had no interest in seeing this at all. I
remember.
For some reason, you saw it, which I want to know why in a second. But you...
Wow, that sounds accusatory. Jeez.
You told me to see it. You said it's worth checking out, and I just did not believe you at all. And I think just kind of out of desperation for this show, I decided to catch a very last minute showing just because I also kind of felt like going to the movies, watch something after just leaving a movie the day before. I'm like, you know what? I just kind of want to go see something by myself. That ended up being Sheep Detective. And yeah, I was like really surprised how good it was. Is it revolutionary? No, but it was just like, as you said, like very pleasant, very endearing. It's kind of like it's very much like a feel good film in all the best ways, which I do want to ask you why, if you can't tell me, did you see this movie?
Why would I not be able to tell you? I had friends who invited me to go see the movie, and I said yes, and I went and saw the movie with them.
Oh no, I just thought like maybe I shouldn't like dig into his personal life.
The majority of times I go to the movies, I am with friends or other people.
Okay. I go alone most of the time.
I had the last movie I went to alone was Michael, and that wasn't by choice. That was just by happenstance, and I needed to see the movie, and I kind of wanted to get it over with. So, and it wasn't a movie like, I would force people to go see, So anyway, but yeah, expand more on the Sheep. What did you like? What did you not like? Did Hugh Jackman give a career best performance?
A career best performance? No, but I think he was a very inspirational character, I will say. It has nothing to do with his acting, although it kind of does. But it's just kind of like what the character stood for. It's kind of like the decisions that the character does. It's very inspiring. But then again, I guess you do need like the that's like the outline. I guess you do need something to fill it in, right? To color it in. So that's what Hugh Jackman was. He's not really in the movie though. I think I want to kind of like just say that. Don't go in expecting like, he's in the movie quite a bit. But when I saw it, I was thinking of Babe.
It was actually,
do you remember that movie?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying, do you remember Babe?
Yeah.
The pig movie? Yeah, that's kind of that's like what this movie basically is. It's a whodunit with Babe, but sheep, obviously not pigs, but yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, similar style of film, and I do slightly disagree on. I was actually surprised at how much Hugh Jackman was in it because the trailer makes it obvious. He's dead early on in the movie, so it wasn't like that was a surprise. So I was thinking we probably wouldn't get too much of him, but he ended up showing up mostly, flashback, but playing a more pivotal role than I thought he would, and he does great. It's not like some Oscar-winning performance or anything, but he provides like a good, steady, calming presence and like moral backbone for the movie's narrative.
Yeah, for sure. There's a point where it's almost in a way kind of like it eventually becomes like a silent role for him. Because you're right, it is a lot of flashbacks, and in the flashbacks, he's not really talking. It is just kind of like his actions. Again, that's why when I described him as inspirational, it was kind of more of the flashback scenes that gave me the sense of, I guess, admiration for this character. But again, it's not really his movie though. The movie does it's about sheep basically.
The movie does have sheep in the title, and believe it or not, the sheep do play a prominent role, voiced by such luminaries as, say, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Bryan Cranston, and many, many more. So the sheep are, it really felt to me like a live action Pixar movie. I'm trying to think of I know there's a Pixar movie. Hoppers, that just came out, where there's like animals, human dialogue, it kind of felt akin to that. Obviously different storylines, but similar thing. And much like the best Pixar movies in kind of a family friendly package without really shying away from kind of darker elements, in this case, a murder, the film tackles in a family friendly way some very like mature themes. Like in this case, it's really grief and, why that's necessary and why you should remember the people you lost, as painful as it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I want to point out too is when I saw this movie, it has like a lot of Roald Dahl, the author, the children's book author, the guy who wrote like Fantastic Mr. Fox, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or I guess Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's interesting because this book is based off a novel, which I didn't know going into it. So it is like an adapted screenplay.
Which, funny enough, I read today, the novel is not a children's story.
I was about to say it's an adult book, yeah. But the movie is packaged as a. I wouldn't even really say it's a children's movie. I could see like a lot of
family
kids
movie. I think it's a family movie.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's not like I wouldn't call it like a Pixar movie because like I feel like it implies it's like a younger crowd. I think it certainly.
No, I think it implies the opposite. It implies it can hit across the board.
Okay,
multiple members of the family. That's my point.
I was gonna say like I don't think like a 5-year-old would enjoy this movie. I think it's definitely more like a. I don't know. I don't know. Like
maybe you should talk to a 5-year-old. I saw some 5-year-olds watching it in my theater. I don't know. I didn't ask them.
Well, yeah, of course. But were they reacting? Were they laughing? Were they dancing?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. They weren't dancing. Actually, one kid who was not 5 years old, was actually probably older, accidentally turned on his phone or tablet or whatever. And so it shined bright on the screen for a split second, which was annoying. But surprisingly, you make that point. So even though there were kids in our screening, it was actually mostly adults. It may have just been a product of it being, Burbank, but it was funny. It was kind of like, yeah, there weren't that many kids in the screening.
My theater was absolutely empty, and I thought I was gonna have a room to myself, but then maybe like 10 minutes into the movie, this couple walks in, and they sit the whole theater empty, and you have to choose the seats. It's me, an empty seat, and then them. I don't know why they decided to sit so close to me, but that was kind of obnoxious.
Why were they making out the whole time during the movie?
They were whispering to each other, not the whole time, but it pulled me out when they would be talking. I'm like,
guys, you should have leaned over and told them to shut up.
I thought about it. I'm like, guys, really? Like, you decided to sit so close to me, you're talking to me. Yeah, but no, I enjoyed it. Going back to the movie, I was kind of describing to my brother. It was like, it has like a lot of memorable moments. I'm thinking about like the meadow that the sheep are hanging out in. It kind of reminds you of like a Pride of Rock almost from like Lion King. It's just like so iconic looking, just like the sun setting.
Yeah, very
open
cinematic.
Fields. Yeah, overlooking like the town. It's just it just felt very peaceful, That's kind of the charm of the movie.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Like I said,
and
just a pleasant
most of the cast was interesting. I mean, it wasn't like they were deep roles or anything, but the performers were, entertaining within each role. And did you feel like the mystery was somewhat predictable, not predictable, middle of the road, some twists, some turns, some not so twists or turns?
There was a point where I feel like I've seen so much of this genre that, you know the game and you try to play the game, and those points where I'm like, okay, this person did it or that person did it. There was a point where I predicted it. I don't think we should spoil it, but I did predict it. But then again, it kind of threw multiple curveballs where I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't this person. Maybe it was this person. There was a line where it's like, oh, the out of town person is typically the one who does it. There are 2 out-of-town characters. One has a very minor role, which I thought was intentionally supposed to kind of misdirect you into thinking that, like, oh, she might not do it because she has such a small role, but then, or he maybe. But, I mean, that's the thing, too, I was going to say. It is a children's or a family film, but I think for a whodunit, it works pretty well. Like, I was able to, I guess, not get lost, but I didn't think it was that predictable.
It felt plausible. Like the mystery itself felt plausible. It was like, oh, this could happen, and this would be a good way. Somebody would try and get away with this. So that was good. Having said that, a little bit of a quibble with the overall say in the movie is it felt like beyond the characters you'd focused on, like the police chief, the shop owner, etc. You didn't really get a sense of the rest of the town, if that makes sense. It's just, just a little bit more personality. And I don't like have anything specific in mind, but I think of, kind of a weird comparison, but movie like Lord of the Rings with the Shire, right? Where you see these like little quick snippets of scenes of just various hobbits just going about their day, doing different things. So you kind of get a sense of like what the Shire is. I didn't really see that in this film. So it was kind of the reason I bring that up is because at the end of the film, when they are at the conclusion, all the town folk kind of gather for, reasons. And it was like, man, I've never seen these people. It's just felt a little odd.
That's true. I didn't think about that. The town does feel a little lifeless in that sense. It's aesthetically beautiful. Like I'm talking about the town now. Like it's pleasing to look at. But you're right. It kind of lacks. And that's kind of the point of the movie too. It's like a small town in the middle of. I don't even know what part of the UK it is, but it's there's like not really a whole lot of. You're right, like life into that town. But that's not like a flaw with the movie necessarily. It's not like why I would rate it any lower.
I'd say it was major. It was just something I noticed that kind of took me out for a moment.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. A thing that took me out, which again isn't a flaw, it's just really funny. But have you ever seen Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs?
No, still need to see it, unfortunately.
Okay. When you watch that movie, Bryan Cranston in Isle of Dogs basically plays the exact same character in this movie. It's a black dog in that movie. He's a black sheep here.
Whoa.
What?
I'm just saying, whoa, it's like, wow,
I feel like I've said black sheep before in this episode, and you're like, whoa. And I'm like, is that like something I shouldn't be saying? Is that like
No. I meant like that. I meant like, whoa, like connection. He's playing a black dog. He's playing a black sheep. He's just constantly playing black. Next he'll play a black man. No.
In Isle of Dogs,
Don't
he's
do
like,
that,
oh,
Bryan
man.
Cranston.
In Isle of Dogs, he's like, oh, this isn't my like, I don't need men. I don't need like an owner. In this movie, he's like, he's not really like, we don't need an owner, but he's like, this isn't my flock. He's like the outsider, the outcast, the badass outcast, basically.
The black sheep.
But yeah, basically. I thought the way that the end of his story wasn't really believable. I'm not going to spoil it, but he goes away at some point, the black sheep.
He goes away. He disappears. He goes poof,
basically
up in the clouds, which is actually a kind of a plot point about sheep turning into clouds. No more spoilers than that, but it's a plot point. Yeah,
his story ends. He does his own thing. The way he gets there, I didn't believe it because there's like a conflict that happens. Yeah,
that made sense.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, I wasn't expecting like a violent scene, but it did. I couldn't believe that this character was just gonna, leave after like such a like a non-combative fight. If that makes sense, I feel like there was like. I really can't spoil it, but there's a point where I'm like, oh, that's it. That's how it's going to go, because I couldn't find. You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, which you do feel like there's a few perilous moments in the film. Some well done like tension scenes. It's a very competently made film.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure like if I could what I was trying to explain like illustrates what I'm trying to explain, but again, that's not really a flaw with the movie. It's just one of the few things that took me out. But like I said, it's just like a very, very pleasant surprise.
Entertaining, nothing like crazy, but entertaining, good time, and also has something substantive to say.
Yeah, the animation, I wouldn't say it's like the next best thing, but it was enough to like get through and like tell the story. I always think it's kind of cool when there's like a story that doesn't really need the best animation, but it's just there to serve a purpose to tell the story and it works. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. Like
so what's your rating?
7, but kind of closer to an 8. Honestly,
like
I said, I really enjoyed this quite a bit.
Yeah, honestly, 7 closer to an 8 for me. I think really the only thing that holds me back from bumping it closer to an 8 is just a couple of small minor details. Like it just kind of took me out. Again, the stuff like a 9 and 10 is for kind of like transcendent experiences. This is definitely not that, but it's fun. It's entertaining and substantive.
Yeah, I could see that. I could like definitely see myself having this on the background. It's just gonna be one of those films where it's a feel good movie. You know, it's like I could just watch in the background. I know how it goes. It has a lot of great scenes. It's one of those movies where, yeah, it is like a lot of build up to great scenes. I don't want to like quite end talking about it because I don't want to spoil it. But did you? It is a tearjerker. Did you get that?
I didn't shed a tear. I can't say I did feel it, but I didn't shed a tear. The movie has to be particularly powerful or impactful to get me to shed a tear, but that's no fault of this movie. It's well done, and you know I can see this, you know, like in the future for my kids, you know, being like a good way to like kind of introduce that topic of like grief and why that's important, and I think that's a good thing to have, a good tool, and that alone I'm sure will make the movie worth it for some people.
Sure, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it worked on me. I almost your boy almost shed a tear 3 times actually. I was telling people there are 3 moments that I kind of get to you, at least for maybe not you, but
there's
personally
definitely some emotional moments.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, just I saw this trailer right before Project Hail Mary, and I'm like, I'm never gonna watch that. I saw the trailer, I'm like, that looks it could be someone's like idea of like a good movie, or a good time even. But yeah, for me, I'm like, ugh, that looks so cheesy. But yeah, I'm surprised like how pleasant it was. That's how I like to describe it, pleasant.
Well, yeah, and I saw it with my friends, and I was down to go because at that point the reviews had already rolled in. You know, it had been playing for like a week and it was gaining a pretty positive reception. So I was like curious. It was like, oh, you know, maybe it's solid. And it was better than the trailers would indicate. Not that the trailers were horrible or anything, but, you know, didn't really give a glimpse into kind of the meat of the movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. I don't even think the movie does a good job of the trailer rather. Like how it's, I don't know if it even like was able to communicate that it's a whodunit genre, but I don't know. Like I said, it worked really well. If you like Knives Out, that type of movie, you know, it works in that way.
And if you like Sheep, it works. And Knives Out, you really love this movie.
One thing I want to mention too, it is like British humor. I didn't think it was the funniest thing ever, but you know, if you like kind of that British humor movie, it has that too, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So, solid 7 of 10 for me. Solid 7 of 10 for you. Any closing thoughts on the Sheep Detectives?
Respect to winter lambs. You know, they need love.
Yeah, love the winter lambs.
Yeah.
Hashtag love winter lambs.
Yeah.
All right. So funny enough, I saw that film back to back. Well, not back to back. I shouldn't say that. The night after I saw another film. Funny enough, I actually saw it in the exact same auditorium.
Nice.
as it turned out. It was kind of surreal. But the other film I had the pleasure of seeing with a cast and crew Q&A, which was fun, was the film that's kind of, I think kind of the all the buzz right now is kind of going to this film. Sure, is like say Star Wars, like sucking up oxygen, obviously to a degree, yeah. But in terms of like word of mouth, like people are excited to see this. It would be Obsession, the so far the horror movie of the year, and we've already had at least one good horror movie or a couple of good horror movies in the year. So this one definitely feels different. It feels very much to me different stories, obviously, but very much Weapons-esque in that, you know, it's taking just kind of a simple hook to a story and just like running with it, you know, to crazy degrees, you know. So before I continue on with my thoughts of the movie, were you obsessed with Obsession?
Yes, I was gonna say. That was gonna be my line, but you say
sorry to step on your toes.
Don't worry about it. It's all good. You said it's a horror movie of the year. I'm like, okay, so we're in 2026. I'm like, is it
horror movie of the year so far? I mean, maybe something will change, but I kind of doubt it, honestly.
Well, I was gonna say movie of the decade, horror movie of the decade. I'm like, I'm trying to think what else came out this year. Close is Weapons. I know it's like fresh in my mind. Like, is that true? Weapons comes close. Like, what else came out this year? Nope was pretty good. Jordan Peele's Nope.
That Nope didn't come out this year. Decade.
Of the decade, yeah.
Decade, yeah.
I can't think of like another movie that is getting so popular, but also getting so much critical acclaim that it's almost like it's going to be one like of those like iconic movies that people are going to talk about in 10 years.
I mean, kind of, because you're talking both commercial and critical appeal, right? Yeah, I agree. And I mean, granted, the movie is only in its second weekend, but as we were talking a bit on the, beforehand before we started the podcast, like it's already insanely profitable. The film was made for less than $1 million, made by Curry Barker, a famous YouTuber, sketch comedy. Him and his partner are both involved in the film. His partner plays one of the supporting characters, but phenomenal theatrical debut for him. Like it's crazy, but yeah, in addition to being insanely profitable, it's really picking up steam. It's, already doing better on the second weekend than it did its first. And it's just, it just feels like it's one of those word of mouth movies where it's like people are like connecting with it because it's first off wildly entertaining. It's as a horror movie and honestly kind of as a comedy at different points as well, which is also similar to Weapons. There's a lot of like really funny things are going on in Weapons. And I mean, I kind of stepped on your toes there, so please continue before I
No, I was going to say, I saw this movie. So today is Sunday. I saw it this last Tuesday. I remember when I was looking at the box office numbers, I guess it's already been out for a few days when I first saw it. It was at $20 million. And then I remember talking to my brother about it maybe 2 days later, and it was at $40 million. And then today it's at $80 million. So yeah, it's like exponentially like getting bigger and bigger. It does have a lot of humor. I think what makes it so successful, why a lot of people are so engaged and invested in it, is maybe they haven't necessarily felt it, but it's such a grounded in reality concept. Aside from the haunted aspect, with this like movie kind of deals with like a little possession. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking more about like the toxic relationships, the red flag, people in relationships. Even if you haven't dealt with it personally, you may have like heard horror stories by like a friend or even a friend of a friend. Maybe not you, but I have too. Like I've actually had people in my life who, had some psychotic people in their relationship lives. But on top of that too, besides being a horror movie, I think it works so well. It kind of reminded me of like a Sam Raimi movie, like Evil Dead, because, it is gory. It is edge of your seat stuff, but it's not afraid to like every once in a while, like sprinkle in like a thing that just makes like the whole audience like burst into laughter, And I want to say too, I didn't really watch any promotional material going to this movie. But I knew what the movie was about with a title like Obsession and the whole concept. I've definitely seen that before. There was a movie I think it was called Obsession too, with like Mariah Carey and Idris Elba. Look it up. Yeah. I think that's what it was called.
Looking it up right now. What is this? Did Curry Barker rip off?
No. I mean, look at the poster, look at the poster, look at like the cast. And I think like you don't have to see that movie to know what that movie's about. Like you don't have to see that because you immediately get an idea.
It was called Obsessed.
There you go. Same concept. You don't have to see it because you get the idea of what that movie's going to be.
I got you.
I had that same kind of notion going into this, but it does so much. It does everything so much better. Like it's creative. The craftsmanship is like pretty killer. And I don't know. It's just like it just worked on so many levels. Kind of like Cheap Detective, I guess. It's just like a movie filled with like a lot of great scenes,
Yeah. I mean, kind of getting ahead of the lead there, but I liked Obsession more than Cheap Detectives, to be clear. No offense to Cheap Detectives. As we talked about, it's good. It's definitely worth checking out. But Obsession, I think the reason it reaches the height it does is because it just thoroughly explores the entire nature of what the gimmick is that kind of sets the movie off, which for those who don't know, this is in the trailer, it's not a spoiler, is one of the main characters. He's pined after his coworker and friend for years, keeps, not gain up the courage to like ask her out or tell her how he feels. So he ends up getting this, which is also funny, kind of the way he comes by this. But in the movie, he gets this, what he thinks is just this cheap party gift called a one wish willow, like wish upon the willow. He wishes upon the willow that she loves him more than anything in the whole wide world. And then she becomes obsessed with him, hence the title, and just runs with that to the whole, like the 11th degree. Like it takes everything you could possibly think of. Even I think in, it's like people in romantic relationships, just as kind of a joke, say, "Oh, I'm obsessed with, my boyfriend or, wife, husband, what have you." And, it just shows like the negative side. And I mean, I'm curious, do you think at any point the main character is sympathetic? Because the movie very much makes him, in my opinion, and by your nodding of head, I would imagine yours too, that he is 100% the bad guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he doesn't have sympathetic moments at times, but he continually doubles down on his selfishness. And
yes,
even when things start going south, he won't course correct.
Yeah, he doubles down. He's like complicit with the things that he's dealing with. It's almost like, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but yeah, it's like he doubles down. He never once takes responsibility for his own action. Basically, he tries to fix it, but he doesn't like own up to it. If that makes sense. Yeah, he is like the bad guy. But at the same time, we do feel bad for him because Nikki, the girlfriend in this movie, does do some like really batshit crazy where like he is a bad guy, but you do kind of worry for him just because the situations he finds himself in. It is a little like kind of disturbing in that sense. I'm just gonna read what my a Letterboxd review, like a friend from college, because I think I'm not gonna give him a shout out, but
wow, poor friend. Some friend
okay.
He is.
I
don't care. It's up to you.
I like every bad decision he makes to double down on the relationship, as you said, becoming more and more complicit as he struggles to concede that he's totally fucked. And I think that's like such a great description of what the movie is. Yeah, I don't know. It just worked so well. I was telling my brother too, because he watched it off my recommendation that I gave him to check it out. But I think what I enjoy is it's just so straightforward. There's a very simple scene where it's not drawn out at all, but it's a very quick no. And the no is that Bear, our main character, asks Nikki. Oh no, my mistake. Nikki asks Bear if like, "Hey, do you like me?" He says no, and she's like, "Okay, good." Then for a fact, like, okay, she never liked him once. In the scene that follows, she's now obsessed with him. It's just like so straightforward to the point,
Yeah, I'd actually push back a little bit on that for stuff, again, without giving away too much of the movie. There is some suggestion. It's not like confirmed or definitive, but there is some suggestion that maybe if he had asked her, she might have reciprocated some interest in him. Is
that what you read into it? I kind of read that too.
This is just, again, it's not like explicit, and it's not like you can definitively say, I think it's open to interpretation, but I think there is the suggestion, and actually Curry Barker said this in my Q&A. So at least according to him, this is the case, that there is the idea that maybe she might have, if he had just, asked her like a normal human being, that she might have been like, "Oh yeah, let's explore this, see if it's something worth pursuing."
Well, with that in mind too, the scene does kind of play out like that too. Because in the movie it's like a no, and then the next movie it's like the next scene it's like, and almost a juxtaposition because like now she's obsessed. But you're right. Like if you go into that scene like kind of thinking about that, the way that the actors, I guess, bounce off of each other can be communicated in that way, that there might be like this ambiguous, maybe like, I guess, side trail that could have happened if, yeah, you're right, if he asked her like a normal human being. Yeah, I don't know. it's kind of weird how great this movie worked in all the right ways.
Yeah, well, it's I mean, the main core theme of the movie, it's a cautionary tale, is basically like, be careful what you wish for, and also, don't be a selfish prick, at the end of the day. But it also is one of those movies that feels to me so much bigger than the world it sets out, because everything that goes on within that world is just enormous stakes by the end of the film. Like, it feels epic in a way, even though it's not an epic by any conventional sense. It's a very small, contained story, but because everything that happens as the film goes on is so like world shattering for the characters involved to varying degrees, it just feels like a big movie.
I see what you're saying. And I was going to say what I enjoyed about the movie too is that, yeah, it feels like there's a kind of a bigger world out there involving like the superstition of this world, like the logic. But I'm really happy that it doesn't go in that direction. Without spoiling it, there's like a scene which I guess I am kind of spoiling it, but there's a scene where Nikki is like basically
spoiler warning.
She's like it looks like she has two personalities basically. One of the obsessed girlfriend mentality, and then one where it's her basically trying to escape like this mindset that she's like trapped in. I remember thinking to myself like, oh shoot, like this is gonna be one of those movies where like, oh guys, she's possessed. We gotta like find like the little MacGuffin, or if that's a word, or like something to get her out of this like demon world. And then there was an implication that maybe Bear might be like kind of being possessed or like going to the demon world. I thought like it was gonna be kind of like a Stranger Things like thing where like they're like in the, what's it called, like the underground, or what we call it, and like they're gonna like, hey, we got to get out of here,
upside down. But
upside down, there you go. Yeah, I thought the movie would have gone that direction, which would have made it less of a movie, but it doesn't deal with that at all. It doesn't do that at all. It's just like, hey, again, it's straight to the point.
No, it sets basically like two rules related to the supernatural part of the story. Yeah, and it doesn't deter from those two rules at all. It sticks with them, and like Chekhov's gun, it's used.
Yes, exactly. That's a nice way of saying that.
Yeah. I was just gonna say on that note, I mean, there's a lot. One of my favorite things of the movies is how well it pays off things that are set up early on in the movie. By the end of it,
yeah,
from a story
absolutely.
perspective. I don't want to go too far into it because, again, spoilers. But it sets things up, gets you to the finish line in a very entertaining way, and pays it off very, very well in a satisfying way.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to ask, because again, I feel like this movie just has a lot of it's an episodic movie where like there's just so many great scenes. Like just like pick at any of them. And it's just entertaining. It's entertaining to watch just as a scene alone. What's your favorite? Did you have a favorite scene that comes to mind?
Ooh, that's tough. Like what way? So actually, just a side note, I thought this movie was scary, quote unquote. I didn't think it was as scary as some people would suggest. I can think of, I mean, there were definitely jump scares, but I can't think of ones that were truly terrifying. But I also don't think it's that kind of movie. Like Weapons, I think, has more conventional jump scares and, more creepy imagery. This is more, akin more to like a psychological, horror. It's like it gets in your brain, like in terms of like, this is truly terrifying if this was to happen to you. Not because it's necessarily blatantly supernatural, although there is obviously an undercurrent of that in the movie. But that it's more just be like, if you were in this situation, you would also be freaking out, or maybe doing what the main character Bear does. If you're a douchebag, So
for thematic purposes, the whole like supernatural part is like introduced because like it's about like this character doubling down, as you said, right? But if you think about it, you could easily like rewrite the beginning of the movie to just being like, oh, he finds a girlfriend and she ends up being obsessed with her. She ends up being obsessed with him. It could still kind of work in that way, the supernatural element is fun, but there's a way to be like, oh, Bear just meets this new girl and she's like acting this way.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be as powerful, since a lot of the movie is also exploring kind of like how selfish the main character is and how that is increasingly becoming more and more destructive to not just him, but others around him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, for thematic purposes, yes, that's why it's introduced. But the point I was trying to make is, like, the reason why it's so scary is because it is such like a grounded thing in reality. Like, that can happen. It is a possession story, but it's not the ghosts that you're scared about. It's the fact that you're right. This can happen to you if you meet the wrong person in your life and you let them in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's kind of, I never watched it, but kind of. I would imagine some similar themes as Baby Reindeer, the Netflix miniseries.
Yeah, actually, yes, that's actually a good point. This one's a little more batshit crazy, but it is kind of the same idea of just like the fear of someone just stalking you, watching over you, being obsessed with you.
But in this case, with the twist that it's kind of what you wanted, and at least initially, so. Yeah, I think it was good, and you use the word grounded. I think that's also because it sets out it lays down the rules of the gimmick and sticks to them. It doesn't deter at all from them. There's not a moment where you're like, oh, why did they do XYZ, or why didn't they do XYZ? Like, even when, like, there's a key point in the movie, without getting into spoilers, where the main character tries to undo some of the stuff that's happened by having a different character do something for him, which is like a clear thing, but the movie, the way it gets around that is like very believable, because it's a believable reaction by the other character to what sounds crazy, because the movie does get continually, like you said, batshit crazy.
As it goes on. One thing I want to call out too is just the acting is like so believable too, from virtually people who are like nobodies. It's not like a star-studded cast. These people are like, I don't know, for the most part, kind of their breakout roles for a lot of them.
Well, you could go down the line, but I'm just gonna say right now that I know for a fact that when Oscar season comes around next year, that I will be disgusted with the Academy, because I know that they will not nominate the main actress's performance for Obsession, despite it definitely so far this year being the most memorable and most interesting, I'd say, of any performance I've seen. But I just don't see how you could necessarily top it at this point. Just all the little different, there's so many like facial tics, movements that, having, been in that one Q&A, it was like a lot of it was like them working that out on the set. Some of it was her coming up with it. Some of it was input from Barker. They were just continually working on it within the movie itself, and it just produced such a great performance, and terrifying at times. And the main character, the main lead is great too. It makes you believe, and kind of at different points kind of feel sorry for him, like you alluded to earlier, but also reminds you like, no, this guy's a douchebag.
Well, I was going to say too, some of the things that I'm going to look up her name real quick. The woman who played Nikki, Indy Navarrete or Navarrete. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, this is one of those movies where, like, a lot of it can feel forced, But yeah, everything she did truly felt natural.
Yeah. In the wrong hands, it could completely turn into a campy, corny performance.
Yeah, but no, it felt believable. I don't know, just great performance. Who attended the Q&A out of curiosity? Who was there?
Like, of the casting crew?
Well, everybody. Like, yeah, was it like a whole?
No, it was just Curry Barker and the two leads.
So Bear and Nikki.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It was very small, quick. Like maybe a half hour, but it was fun. Got some good information, and like they even were like going back and forth about different ideas, and they were having their own interpretations on some of the stuff that happened in the film. one of the things was I had seen a review a while back that I think describes her performance like really well. I think I had mentioned this to you, but like she's basically playing the girl next door glitching out.
The girl next door glitching out. Yeah.
Yeah, glitching basically. Out. You know, and I thought was a really good, like, just simple description of what the performance is. And there's more to it than that, but that's just like a quick, concise way. So one thing I want to call out too is the cinematography. It's not like insane photography, but I think it utilizes depth of field so well because it's a lot of something in the forefront. You're watching the forefront, but in the background you see something else being communicated, like maybe Nikki kind of like turning her shoulder and just like not taking her side off bare when they first start dating, when they're in the music shop. It happens very early on. By Mr. Taylor Clemens, cinematographer.
Is that the cinematographer?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta look this guy up. Taylor. Yep, there he is. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to call it, like, my favorite scene was the duct tape scene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, when that happens, you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's a great example of a great, like, unique visual to the movie, which is just using something simple, but it's memorable.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's when I knew, like, I don't know, if I was in that situation, I'd start freaking out. You know, that's like such a unhinged thing to do that I don't know. Just very relatable. Like I said, not relatable, but eerie, I will say, if it happened to you.
Yeah. 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 No, totally true. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much more I feel like I'm just going to keep praising it to, you know, left and right. There's not too much I would change. Everything would be very minor. And, you know, again, I kind of look at it as like one of those movies. Could I have done that? You know, probably not. You know, so, you know, it's kudos. And it's just nice to see how well it's been received so far. You know, it being an indie film, that's definitely pushing, you know, the people involved probably to greater heights in their professional career. So it's a good fun movie. And it was also definitely, again, going back to that weapons comparison, the movie that I felt like there was the most crowd engagement with it in some time, you know? So yeah, just curious without spoilers. The one major, violent sequence in the movie. Did you kind of jump at that?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, what's funny because my brother kind of asked me the same question too. Yeah, so I won't spoil it, but
please don't.
No, I won't. But I knew something was going to happen. I just didn't know how it was going to play out. So, you know, I had this expectation that something was going to happen. And, but the way it plays out, yeah, it's, I did not see how, yeah, it's insane.
It's insane. Yeah.
Jaws would just like drop. Like I could feel everyone just like, I could just like hear the jaws dropping, you know, that's how like kind of insane. My jaw was dropped too. It was just, yeah, like I said, just so well done. And we're just keep praising the movie, but well, here's a question, before we close it out. Anything I don't know. I saw you gave it like a 9 out of 10. Any complaints why you might have that movie? I think it might be a 10 for me, honestly.
There's two things that come to mind, both again very, very minor. There was with one particular sex scene, even though that's the point, it felt a little expletive. So I might have cut that one. Again, I know that was part of the point, is to make you feel ick, but it was like, maybe didn't need that portion. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about, but
I don't. There's a sex scene, you said?
Yeah. Technically there's a couple, but I mean, one's like super brief, and I mean, they're both brief, but one's a little bit more graphic than the other. But neither here nor there. Then the opening of the movie with the title sequence was kind of an odd segue, I thought, you know, given what goes on. But again, minor quibbles, just because it's only a near masterpiece doesn't mean I should hold that much against it.
Okay, cool. I'm surprised to see you like a horror movie so much. I never expected you to like.
This is the thing. When the movies I've liked, horror movies wise, are going against the grain of a lot of horror movies, or introducing something unique that a lot of horror movies don't. In this case, it's just a very simple concept, and it runs with it, and I think it has a very satisfying ending. It's a pretty minor spoiler because of how I'm going to phrase this, but it's a pretty dark ending. It doesn't let anybody off the hook. It's a bleak ending, but it's completely justified and is like a morally just ending in a way because of how it ends. It doesn't let anybody off the hook. Everybody does get their just desserts.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of pointed out earlier, but yeah, my biggest fear was that the movie would have gone a little too supernatural. Again, kind of going into the upside down, if you will, trying to get the people out, or whatever way you could think about. I was worried that's going to go in that direction. It doesn't. It goes with a little more of a simple ending. Mm-hmm. That's very, basically effective. Nobody really wins in the end. And it's stuck the landing for me.
It's the natural conclusion of the selfish, destructive choices.
Yes,
by the main character. So
it sticks its landing for sure. Yeah, hits the ground running and then sticks the landing at the end. Yeah,
easily. Absolutely, and provides a lot of entertainment in between.
Yeah.
Bad.
I mean, I'm the same way. 9 out of 10.
Now, last question before we start wrapping up. Do you want them to expand this universe? Would you prefer it just stick with its own? What do you think? Because Corey Barker's talked about it, maybe turning it into maybe an anthology TV show and have different people come in and put their own spin on it, on the idea. What do you think?
I'm always Go. Well, I don't know. When you said when I think of horror sequels, my mind immediately goes to back in the day, Friday the 13th, 2, and then they start doing Jason Voorhees in space. And obviously can't do that with this movie, but but if the director, I'm always an advocate if the director feels like there's more to tell with the story, and he's doing it out of passion, not a cash grab, then I say go for it. When you said anthology that he wanted to do, I'm that's actually not. I would kind of like that. I feel like there's a lot of cool things you could do with a One Wish Willow. How
I don't think it could be a straight up sequel, partially because of how the movie ends, and also just I don't think it would be as effective. But the idea of it being a spin off or spin out, because that concept is so intriguing, and you could do so many different things with it, and they hint at that in the movie that there's other stuff going on. With other people who got in the One Wish Willow, they don't explore beyond just a few lines, but it sets what could be happening if you wish this or that, So
I feel like the careful what you wish for movies have been done, but I mean, if the name is Curry Baker or Barker, Curry
Barker, yeah.
I mean, if he has more ideas that he wants to do, by all means, I'd be down for that. Yeah, 100%. Cool.
So, the verdict: get obsessed with Obsession. Go see it now if you haven't. Mm-hmm. Make it a great, successful movie, so more studios take chances on this type of content.
Yep. Before the podcast, we're talking about what we're gonna start watching in the coming weeks. I'm trying to see this sooner than later too. That's the last thing I want to say. I'm thinking about trying to watch it again this week later. I do want to see it again soon.
Yeah, if I didn't have so many movies going on, I might want, and even then I might still go and watch it again, depending on what happens. But there's only so many films, so little time. Mm-hmm. Did you get Movie Pass yet?
No, but
have to get Movie Pass to sponsor us, and then you're go more.
Yeah. I still got time too. Excuse me, yawning.
Wow, Jose's getting tired. He's ready to quit. He's saying no more. He's looking to take a siesta. So,
yeah, nice siesta.
Anyway.
I like
it. Well, I think that about does it for this episode of Popcorn and Pictures with your host, Sam Karpinski, and your co-host, Mr. Jose Mendoza. Any last words, Jose?
Go Spurs.
Go Spurs. Rip Warriors.
Yeah,
and that's it. Eat lots of popcorn. Go see the movies. Signing off. That's Popcorn and Pictures.
Bye.